Hello and welcome to the Should You Buy for the Champion. We're going to take a look at the mech, its stats, its hardpoints, its possible hitbox locations based on the concept art, and whether or not you should buy it. To start off, this is an IS collection, so we're looking at IS weaponry and such, and they're a bit late putting this out. Normally it's the first week of the month. This is coming out in the second week of the month on the 11th. Where normally it would be announced on the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. It's typically what they would do. So this early adopter reward is actually the shortest I've ever seen, with just 20 days to take part in it. But let us move on down here. This is regular pricing here. So standard pack is $20, which comes with the 1N, the 2N, and the 3N. The collector's pack is $40, which comes with the same mechs, plus a 1N with 30% C-build bonus. They have appropriate quantities of mech bays to house them, 30 days premium time for the standard, 60 days for the collectors, and various cockpit items and badges and titles. The hero is the Invictus, which, if I'm not mistaken, and I researched this right before I made the video, is like indestructible or undefeatable or something like that in Latin, which is kind of cool. But the Invictus for 15, and then the 1N2 and the 1NB for 15 for the reinforcements. We're going to take a look at those mechs and see if they're pay to win, pay to optimize compared to the standard variants. Also, the mech is a champion, but will there be a champion of the champion in the future? Only time will tell. Ultimate pack for $70, which is just everything added together. Again, I'll say this every single time. If you're buying everything all together, it would be great if it was $5 or $10 less for the total thing. If this was $65 or $60, just to say, hey, you know, you could get the the $20 package or the $40 package or whatever you wanted, and all these a la carte options. But if you just get everything right now, within the pre-order window, or even something like that, within the early adopter rewards window, how about? You can get it for $5 or $10 off. It would be quite nice. Early adopter rewards, the standard stuff. You got some cockpit items, a pattern. There's Sherman unlocked for all of your champion mechs. Some decals, or decals, as the weirdos say it. And colors. 3 new colors. Honey yellow, haze blue, and moss green. And 6.5 million in C-bills. And lining here with the specs, let me position that correctly so we can see everything. The Champion is a 60-ton heavy IS battle mech. As we see, we have the max engine ratings. That's the way we can change around our engine and our structure and our endo and such like that. We have no jump jets on the standard and reinforcements, but there are jump jets on the hero. And no ECM on any of them, and no mask on any of them. With that out of the way, let's pop over to the Spreadsheet Warrior and take a look at the different engines that I expect people to be using on these, and their weights, and what kind of pod space you should get out of it. It's best to look at this on a full screen with 1080p in order to see everything properly, but I will read it all out so you can get all your information. Because it has a max engine rating, if we look back here at 360, we're going to go up to a 350 with our engine ratings in this spreadsheet. Once you get past 350, it's never really worth it in terms of how much weight you're putting into the engine to getting out of it. Unless it's like a super specific mech. Oh, okay, that one particular mech is going to go fast and it has already a bunch of weight that it can use. Like, for example, I have an XL380 in my Marauder 2C, but that is because it's a Marauder 2C, it's heavy, it's an assault mech, it's got lots of weight, and it's using energy weapons, which are light, so it can get away with that. But realistically, we're not going to go past a 350. Starting down here at XL255, as it is the lowest one that gives you your 10 heat sinks within the engine, which are your true double heat sinks, but as well, not a 250. I think I screwed that up on my last should you buy, where I said that it's the break point where you can gain engine speed without gaining weight. The 255 is that, not the 250. Along those lines, we have the 280, the 300, 325, and then finally with the 350. That gives us a speed for them of the 255 at 68.9, the 280 at 75.6, the 300, 81, the 325 at 87.8, and the 350 at 94.5, which is quite fast for a 60 tonner. Realistically, I would say that the 300 or the 280 are gonna be where I'm gonna do most of my builds, because 75.6 or 81 without tweak, that's more than enough if you know how to maneuver and what this mech is going to be doing. We haven't gotten to it yet with the hardpoints, but I see this as more of a fire support, second line mech. It's not going to be that good of a brawler, so you don't need to have huge speed in order to get in and get close really fast. If you have 75.6 and you know how to predict the way that the battle is going to go, you're going to be able to get all of your movement done with that speed. For upgrades, I went with Endo and Light Pharaoh. This saves as much weight as possible while still maintaining enough available slots. If we change this to Full Pharaoh, we only have 14 slots. Sure, you're going to save all of this tonnage, but you don't have space to put any weapons or heat sinks. So Light Pharaoh, some cases you're going to have standard in order to get those slots back. One of the issues with IS mechs is those upgrades are incredibly costly in terms of crit space, and you can't take both upgrades when the clans can. But for pod space, in the ones that I'm recommending, the 280 and the 300, for XL, you're going to look to around 30 to 32, 31.5 tons. And for light, you're going to look around 25 to 27. But this is very important. The arms on this mech are almost never used. There's several variants that just don't have anything in the arms, and so they can be effectively stripped. As 40 points of armor per arm, which gives you 1.25 tons per arm, or 2.5 tons total if you remove both of them. So this XL 280 and 300 really ends up being more like 32 tons and 34 tons sort of thing. And the light 280 and 300 is more like 27 tons-ish and 30 tons-ish, depending on how much you shave from your legs and your head and such like that. But you can get an additional 2.5 tons just by focusing on torso mounted weapons, which is awesome. So for my theory crafting, I stuck with the light 280 and shaving arms. So that gives me the 27.15 here for pawn space, and then shaving both arms, it gives me 29.5 after arms and a little bit of legs in order to round things off. So 29.5 tons going 75 kilometers an hour with a light 280, and that's what I'm theory crafted based on. But back to the hard points to go through them. These are battle mechs. We're going to look at them vertically so that we look at one mech at a time. We're going to look at the 3 mechs here first and see what kind of builds they can do, then the reinforcements, and then the hero to see how they differ. So first off is the CHP-1N. It comes with 4 energy. We've got 2 in the left torso, 2 in the center torso. Those ones in the center torso are limited to 1 slot each, or 1 energy hardpoint can use both slots. So if you want to use both of the energy hardpoints there, they're going to have to be small or medium-sized lasers. We have 2 missiles, both in the left torso, and 2 ballistic, both in the right torso. Nothing in the arms except for an AMS, and that's ubiquitous across all of them, so we won't say it again. For this, with that light 280, you can do things like a pair of UAC 5 with, say, 4.5 tons of ammunition, 4 ER medium lasers, 13 double heat sinks, be docking from 500 meters away. We can do 2 MRM 30s in this side torso. Those MRM 30s will fill that side torso, so you can't use these energy to go along with it because there's just not enough crit slots with the light engine there. But you can do 2 MRM 30s, something like 5 tons of ammo, 2 ER medium lasers in the center torso, and a dozen 12 double heat sinks. You could also do something more like a brawler, where you have 2 Artemis 6s in this left torso, 2.5 tons of ammo, 4 ER smalls between the left and center, and an AC-20 in the right torso, with 3 tons of ammo for the 20, and 10 double heat sinks. A little toasty with that design, but you do have the 4 ER smalls that you can put on your left click, and then the AC-20 and CERM 6s could be put on the right click and shot together, and you could just use them in close range. And it could be an okay brawler. It feels like it lacks a little bit of short range firepower. I would move more into, say, the roughneck for that, for the IS side, which is only 5 tons heavier. But let's move on to one more design that this one can do. Heavy Gauss in that right torso. But because we're going heavy Gauss, we have to go with standard engine. So this is a standard 250. A bunch of ammunition for that. 4 ER medium lasers and 10 double heat sinks. So you can get an ER medium heavy Gauss design on a 60 tonner. Now, of course, some of these designs can be placed on other mechs. So I won't be going over them again. For example, you can do the UAC 5 and medium laser design on the 2N here, but I won't be saying it again. The 2N with 1 missile in the left torso, 4 energy, same distribution as the 1N, and 3 ballistic. Essentially, this one is giving up a missile in the left for a ballistic in the right. Unique things that it can do is stuff like the 3 UAC 2s, 4.5 tons of ammo, 4 ER smalls for backup weapons, 10 double heat sinks. You could also do 3 rotary 2s. You're not going to have any weight there to do backup weapons because the rotaries are just heavier, but you can get 5.5 tons of ammo and 10 double heat sinks out of your engine with the light 280. You could drop your engine a little bit if you wanted to get some backup weapons or more ammo, but the 75 kph will be a good amount of mobility to have. The 3N is the first one here that has energy in the arms. It has a total of 6 energy, 1 in each arm, and then again 2 in the left torso, 2 in the center torso. It has 1 missile in the left torso and 1 ballistic in the right torso. So now that we have those 6 energy, we can do energy bomb of various types here. We can do 6 ER medium and a Gauss rifle, say 2.5 tons of ammo, 14 double heat sinks. This is actually the exact same build I have on my Rifleman 3N, which works very well on the Rifleman, so I don't see it as why it wouldn't work very well on the 3N here. Both 3N designs. How coincidental. You could also do something like 6 ER smalls and a heavy Gauss with some quantity of ammo and 10 double heat sinks. Again, you have to drop down to a standard 250. It's a little slow, but you have a heavy Gauss for a short range. And then, alternatively, if you want to ignore the ballistic and go for the missile instead, you could do an MRM 40 with 6 ER medium lasers, say 3.5 tons of ammo with the MRM, 14 double heat sinks, and actually improve your speed up to a light 300, which would allow you to go a little bit faster, put that MRM into a good position, and you have plenty of heat efficiency with the 14 DHS. Moving on to the CHP 1-2, which is the first of the reinforcement pack. We have 2 missile in the left torso, 5 energy, 3 in the left torso, 2 in the center, and 1 ballistic in the right torso. This is a 1N2, so this is variation of the 1N where it is losing a ballistic from the right torso and gaining it as an energy in the left torso. So you have 5 energy. You could do things such as laser VOM design, 3 large pulse laser, 2 ER mediums, 17 double heat sinks, and just have that as your lasers. You could also do a similar type thing to the previous mech, the 3N, with instead 5 ER mediums in a single Gauss rifle, but you can go a little bit faster with, say, a light 325 if you want it to be, so a really fast medium laser Gauss design. 10 double heat sinks for that. And before we move on to the 1NP, we missed a build for the 3N. The 6 energy weapons, you could just do energy. You could just do 3 large laser, 3 ER mediums, 19 double heat sinks. But to get that many double heat sinks on, you have to downgrade from the light ferro to standard armor, so you have more crit space. Last up for the reinforcements is the CHP 1NB, which is, again, is a variation of the one end. What this one has done is it's combined all of its energy into the left torso, nothing in the CT anymore, so 4 energy in the left torso, and compared to the 1N, it's taken both missile from the left and put it into 4 ballistic in the right torso. So what you can do here, some things like, say, 4 UAC-2s, 6 tons of ammo, 10 double heat sinks, and just that, no backup weapons, because you just need a bunch of weight for the ammunition in order to keep those 4 UAC-2s running. You can do all the previous ones of 3 UAC-2s, 3 rotary 2s, and such on this particular variant. You could also, if you wanted to, just do energy weapons, some sort of laser VOM with mass machine guns in that left torso. That works. In terms of the reinforcements here, whether or not they're pay to win or pay to optimize, all the builds that they can do are pretty much equal in terms of their power to the standard pack. So I'm not really concerned about their abilities compared to the standard pack. They're not really required unless you specifically want to do something with 4 ballistics. Moving on to the Invictus, we have the most missile of any of the mechs on here, as we have 4 missile, 1 in each arm, 1 in each torso, and 2 energy, 1 in each arm. So there's different options here you can do with this. You can do sort of a brawler thing. This is the only one that has jump jets, and these are 1-ton jump jets. You can do 4 Artemis 6, a couple medium lasers, a few jump jets, and try to jump SRM, run in the opponent, brawl that way. You could also change out those SRMs for MRMs, approximately 1-to-1 for MRM 10s, if your SRM 6 is at Artemis. So that works out quite nicely. 4 MRM 10s, a couple medium lasers, some jump jets, be sort of a mid-range missile vomit. You can also do a light hunter if you wish and put a bunch of streaks on. That's kind of what the stock build is. And of course, LRMs if you wish to be that guy. But you can also drop the arms completely, like take away their tonnage, and just do a pair of really big MRMs. Build it kind of like an IV4 from the Quick Draw, or like a pair of like MRM 30s, 1 in each side torso, or even an MRM 30 and an MRM 40, who knows? Because you don't have the energy hardpoints in the center torso in order to do backup energy, so you could just do a pair of MRM 30s, a bunch of extra ammo, maybe even a little larger of an engine compared to the 280, and just do it that way. Just missile bomb with that method in mind. But comparatively to the rest of them, the Invictus is not... it's not just better. It has jump jets, but really this mech doesn't need jump jets. I feel this is going to play a lot like a Jaeger mech or a Rifleman or say like a Catapult K2 kind of feeling. The jump jets are nice, but not really required for the design. You probably take 1 or 2 so you can just help yourself get over rocks or move from the different levels in, say, Canyon Network in order to just facilitate your mobility. Overall, not really concerned about any pay to win or pay to optimize here. Let us head back up to the top where we can take a look at the mech and its possible hitboxes here. So the mech is kind of like a mini Night Star or like Marauder type torso with some Night Star-ishy arms coming out the side. It looks like it's going to tank fairly well from the front. If you catch this thing on the side, you're going to be able to take its side off quite quickly, like you can with a Marauder or those types of protruding snout mechs. The good things about it is that your cockpit is right at the top of the mech, so peeking over ridges is very safe and very easy to do. Looks like most of your weaponry is fairly high. The center torso energy is below the cockpit, so you have to expose up to your waist in order to get those on target. But the side torso ballistic and the side torso energy or missile or whatever it is seems to be just barely below cockpit, so you don't have to expose that far. It's not as good as a rifleman, but it's not as bad as other things. These could be dragging arms comparatively, such as like with the Marauder, that would be worse, but these are much higher and off to the side, which is more like the Night Star, which is better. In terms of hitboxes, yeah, again, if you catch this thing from the side, you can take that side off. Talking about the hero, and I mentioned it could do these very similar builds to the IV4, the 2 MRM30s and such. I feel that kind of build, if this mech is capable of brawling at all, it will be entirely dependent on how much durability quirks it gets. Because the IV4 is only good for brawling right now because it has incredible levels of armor for a 65-tonner. Or is it quick draw 60 tons? Oh my god, I'm losing my mind. But it has incredible armor for a light heavy. It has like assault level armor. So that's why it can do that. If this thing doesn't get durability quirks, I don't see any of those brawl builds working that well. I see this as definitely acting like a rifleman, or basically a replacement for a rifleman if you want to have it that way. But yeah, it's going to be a fire support type mech. I actually think it's going to be pretty decent. I've got a few builds here that I want to try on my variants eventually when I get them. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and good hunting.